My name is Daryl Earl. I'm a project manager with the Community Partnership Program at the Land Bank Authority, which is a program in which we engage with nonprofit organizations, 501c3s, and faith-based organizations. Our program is designed to transact with 501c3 faith-based organizations. So part of the mini grant application does advise that you must either have a 501c3 or a 501c3 fiduciary that can actually hold properties. Our policy, the way that the Community Partnership Program policy is written, is that the land bank is only able to transact with tax-exempt organizations that are housed in the city of Detroit. So that part is addressed in the DFC mini grant application process. One thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about this evening is site selection, because that's a critical part to the mini grant application itself, is the proposed sites for projects. As you know, the land bank holds probably 30,000, a little more than 30,000 vacant lots across the city of Detroit. That being said, not all of those lots are able to be transacted on for various reasons. So I'll give you some of the why we would not be able to transact on a vacant lot if it's been vacant for a period of time. So a couple of things that you don't see when you see vacant lots in the city is there's oftentimes a lien against the demolition of the property. So where a house once stood, what is left behind is a lien against the property for the cost of the demolition. MSHDA, which is the state agency which is the fiduciary for federal government's hardest hit funds, is the fiduciary for the demolition. So they essentially hold a mortgage against the property on those vacant lots. So we have to go through a lien release process with the state of Michigan to release the lien for the demolition against a vacant lot. So that can be a lengthy process. To be very honest, I don't even have it takes this long, because we don't know. We're still engaged with conversations with MSHDA to expedite the lien release process so that we can activate vacant lots around the city. So that's one of the things that you don't see when you see a vacant lot. Another issue with a vacant lot is that there are other liens. Oftentimes not oftentimes, but sometimes there's not a clear title. Because some of the properties that the land bank received from the city of Detroit and received from other agencies does not have a clean title. Therefore, we have to do a quiet title action in Wayne County Circuit Court to clear any adverse interest against the property so that we have a title that we can actually transfer. So we try and do as many things as we can to safeguard you, the public, from having an adverse experience of purchasing a lot that cost you $100 and could potentially cost thousands of dollars just to have a clear title to it. So there are a couple other things that when you're doing site selection to keep in mind. Be mindful that if there's a site that you're proposing or looking at to implement your strategy, if there's a lot and it's in between two homes or two structures, that what will expedite that selection process is if you get some form of consent from those two neighbors on either side of that vacant lot. Because if we have to identify a lot that's potentially a project site, but then we have to give the two adjacent owners notice of a proposed project on this lot, which is in between their houses. So if there's a lot that is in between two people's homes, if you get the consent or some form of recognition or acknowledgement that person on either side acknowledges that they know that they would be eligible, but they are okay with this project being installed on this lot. That would help the process, at least on the land bank side, a lot easier. Other than that, I would particularly pay attention to does your strategy fall within the ordinance for that lot? Most of the lots that the land bank have are zoned residential. And I believe that most of the strategies for the DFC mini grant fall within the urban garden ordinance. It's not really erecting anything. You're not permanently affixing a structure on the lots. So many of these strategies fall within the urban garden ordinance for the city of Detroit. So I don't think that that would be an issue, but it's something to be mindful of when you're doing projects on residential lots. Is this a permitted use? Again, I've looked through the field guide, and most, if not all, of the strategies do fall within the urban garden ordinance. Aside from that, looking at how are you searching for potential sites. If you're doing drive-bys, because you don't really have lots, and lots don't have addresses.
Yeah.
And that becomes a problem. So I would look at a tool to use is Loveland Technology. Make Loveland is still a good site to use. Motor City Mapping is also a good tool to use for the purpose of reference. For ownership, it sucks. But for context and understanding like what is the address of this parcel, it's still a good tool to use. So in your site selection process, I would look at, a primary site, but I would think look at alternative lots as well. Because if you land on one and you have few to choose from, it gives you more options. But if you only have one, and for whatever reasons that one is not available, then you gotta go back to square one. So I would ask that or suggest that you look at one, possibly two other alternative lots for your strategy, just to give yourself more opportunities to have a successful project. Aside from that, I didn't want to come before you long because I just wanted to talk about those things, because the land bank will be on the back end, like searching the availability of the lots. Is there anything out there that would prevent this lot from being transferred from the land bank to the organization that you are applying for the mini grant under, or you as an organization itself?